Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining Her Essence with this part 2 of her business. If you did not see part 1, it will be on the www.iamheressence.com. You must see part 1. Part 1 included Christopher Melton, who talked about starting a business. We had Christine Etheridge, who talked about flipping homes. And we also had Pamela Frazier, who talked to us about purchasing your first home. So if you did not get the opportunity to be a part of the part 1, I encourage you to go to, again, www.iamheressence.com and watch it. We will have tonight our part 2 for her business, and that will include LaShawn Green, who will be talking to us about the importance of your credit. We will also have Kimerly Barley, who will be speaking about investments. So I encourage you to go get your pen, pencil, paper, whatever it is, however you take notes, because we're going to have some good information for you tonight. Let me just tell you a little bit about Her Essence. Again, I am Tanisha, president of Her Essence, which is a movement of women who has the same goal, and that is to unite with women of all walks of life. We are embarked on discovering our true identities in Christ and accomplishing our divine purpose and goals. While doing so, we embark each other in our environment free from judgment and strengthen our inner core being by being involved in our church, our homes, and communities. We do this by sponsoring events like this event we're having tonight to inform and to make sure our community has the information that is needed to help them accomplish those dreams. So again, I want to welcome you to the Her Business, and we will be going forward by having LaShawn Green to talk about the importance of your credit. Now, we all know that credit plays a big part in all of our lives. And that's whether you're someone in college, a young adult, to an old adult. Your credit goes with you throughout your life. So I hope and pray that you will get everything you need, take something away from this that will help you in the future or now in the importance of your credit. So I'm going to toss this over to LaShawn and have her to talk to us about the importance of your credit.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm LaShawn Green. Understanding the importance of credit. And as Tanisha says so beautifully, credit is so important. And you spend what you see. Everyone, when you see it, you tends to spend it, just like money. If you see money, you see it, most of the time we're going to spend it. Well, credit is the same way. Just because you have it, a lot of time people just go out and spend it. And I'm going to go into what is credit. Credit is part of financial power. It does have some power. You know, if you got some credit, whether it's good or bad, it still carries a weight of power. It helps you get the things that you need now based on your promise to pay later. Credit is the ability to borrow money and make purchase under agreement with loans with banks and institutions. A lot of time just knowing that, hey, you got some type of credit And the higher your score is with your credit, the better your the better interest rate that you tend to receive from institution, and it plays a major part. Usually it comes with some type of interest. You know, if you borrow, they're going to tack on some interest there. So it is important to understand what is credit, and we all need to know what credit is. How does credit work? There are two important aspects of considering credit report. It's credit report and credit score. The credit report is a detailed summary of your personal credit history and a list of everything that lenders tend to look at you from the time they review, from time you're making a loan or taking out, trying to take out a loan or a financial institution contract with the borrowers. There are three wide known consumer agency provided credit report. Expeditor, Equifax, and TransUnion. Each report includes identified information about you and a detailed list of your current and past financial obligation. Everyone is entitled to a credit report yearly. As I think about the three credit reports, you know, one, when you look at it, one might give you a score of Equifax might have this on you. TransUnion might have that on you. But overall, when you're dealing with your credit and looking at your credit report, all of them plays a big weight. It also accredit your credit score. There's three types of credit: installment credit, loans in which you borrow one lump sum and you repay with interest. There's another, revolving credit, allow you to repeatedly borrow, repay amount from a single line of credit up to a maximum limit. That's like a home equity line. And then open credit, we make monthly payments. That's like a light bill. And I'm going to say this about the credit. When you're looking at your credit report and your credit score, a lot of times when lenders look at the credit report and they pull everything on you, when you understand that the importance of this score needs to be high, when you're looking at your credit score and your credit rate, that score says everything about a lot of your history. And a lot of times the bank, when they look at your score, they play a weight on that. That plays a very high weight on you. If your score is low, then you tend sometimes not to get that loan. Sometimes if you get the loan, they're going to tack on those high interest rate. And a lot of time when you're dealing with those high interest rate, it takes forever to pay them off. Why? Because that interest rate is so high. And people don't realize that. Why am I paying a high interest rate? They're looking at the beauty of what you're getting. The house might look good. The cars may look good. But you need to really look at what interest rate that you play. What interest rate do you have? And that plays a major part in understanding your credit. When you know that your credit score is real high, you can get those good interest rate. And that's what you want. You just don't want a good credit report, but you want a good credit score. That score it tells everything about you. There is three types of credit. Like I say, installment credit. That's that loan when you're borrowing lump sum money. Revolving credit, you want to watch out for that too. Borrowing constantly. People, they pay off debt and they go back and they get back in debt again. You want to watch that. Be cautious, be careful. Just because you have it, don't go out there and spend it just because it's there. Know what you're getting. Know what it involves. Know that even your open credit, monthly payments, and a lot of time people just pay the minimum. You'll never get out of debt like that. Why? Because you just paying the minimum. Always try to pay a little bit extra when you're dealing with monthly payments. That help kill some of the interest. Your credit score, the credit score plays a major. When they talk about FICA, those are your scores. And your scores run from 300 to 850. When you're dealing with a 300, that's very poor. That's something you need to watch out and work on. When you're dealing with 300 to 499, that's very poor. 500 to 559, that's poor. Then you got 560 to 669. You're dealing with fair. 750 to 809. You're dealing with great. 810 to 850. That's excellent. Banks, they like to look at that excellent. Why? Because that tells a lot about you. If I'm going to loan you money, I want to know that you can pay me back. And those scores tells a whole lot. I believe that everything is workable. I believe even if you got the very poor, when you start working on it, it's a workable. I believe everything, no matter how bad that credit score is, when you start working on it, it's workable. And I tell everybody, you want to work on your credit. It's you. It's who you are. It represents you. Now we don't have to have money. So what do they want you to have? Credit. And a lot of time, as she said about the teenagers, even I'm going to throw this in there. If you got good credit, even like my own self, and I always try to maintain that 800 score. I don't like for it to get below 800. Why? Because I know that's valuable to me. That represents when you pull my credit report and you see my history, it tells everybody everything about me. Let the vendor know, hey, I can loan this person money. I know that they will pay back. I know that if I give them this money, and that's what you're trying to relate to the lenders, regardless of who it is. And another thing for credit scores, it's over time. Unless you got a lot of money to pay off your debt that you're in, you're gonna have to work on it. People think that you can just do credit and you got a good and you can bump up your score. That's not always true. You have to work at it. It takes time. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it takes years. But it all relate back to the person. How bad do you want to work on your credit? What can you do? What are some of the advantages of working on your credit? And as we go into what affects a credit score, payment history. That's so important. Don't be late. Always try to be on time, even if you're paying just a little bit. Little is always better than nothing at all. And also knowing about amount that you owe. Collection. Watch out for those collections. That's what get a lot of people in trouble. They say, oh, I'm just going to let it ride. I'm not going to pay those hospital bills. Well, sometimes because of the mentality that you have to understand, do my credit plays a value of me? Yes, it do. It tells who you are. It tells a lot about you. It tells what this individual are. And a lot of times, banks don't really know you until they pull who you are. When they read about you, when they read that this person is faithful on time. This person, there's time where we might run into bad debt and in a situation where we can't pay. Always still pay some. Pay on it. When you let them know that you pay on, you can't pay it, call them up. Do whatever it takes because you're trying to save your credit. You're trying to save that because it represents you. New credit cards, stay away from. Look at the interest rate. The interest rate is everything about a credit. Everything. To me, I think interest rate is everything. What are the interest rate? When I'm going out and buy a car or a house or anything, the first thing I want to look at is what is my interest rate? What am I going to pay for? I don't care how beautiful the car, how beautiful your house is. What is the interest rate? because that you can pay $1,000 on a loan. But if that interest rate is so high, you might end up paying $3,000 and $4,000 by the time you pay it off. So you want to be careful. You want to be cautious. You want to understand what it is. Work on it. Work on it so that you can. And it's a benefit. Your credit score and good credit, it's like money in the bank that you don't have to have, but just a piece of paper showing who you are and what it represents. Let's inquire. Try to stay away from those. When you just let people pull in your credit, be cautious. It can damage you. Too many can hurt you. Pay off all your collection. Be cautious. Be careful. Them collection is they're a demon. I say they're a demon. They are a demon. Be cautious. Pay them off, even little by little. If you got to pay $10 a month, $10 over a whole year, that's $120 that you don't pay on. So be cautious. Be careful. Dispute. If there are some things on your credit that you feel like don't belong to you, dispute them. Dispute them. They don't belong to you. They gonna research them and make sure if they belong to you or not. And a lot of time people take things that don't belong to them. Take things that don't belong to them. Where can I check my credit? There is so many out there. So many to choose from. Some are free and some you have to pay for. If you get the free one, sometimes you can get the best, and sometimes it can give you the score. It can give you everything you need. And sometimes free ain't always the best. You get what you pay for. Self-check, sometimes you can do it yourself. Then sometimes you have to get an expert. Sometimes you can't do everything yourself. I know people like to cut costs. Sometimes to build your credit up, this is you. Your credit is you, who you are. It represents who you stand for, what you stand for. All about you. When people see your credit, because they see in your livelihood, they reading you on a piece of paper. And you want them to read everything good about you. Google, the best friend. Google it. Where can I find it? Pull my credit. One, a lot of people use creditkarma.com. Another one, annualcreditreport.com. And an annual credit report doesn't give you your score. It'll give you the report. So it comes hand in hand. You need the report and you need the score. You need both of them, and both of them go hand in hand. What good is having a report and don't know your score? You need to understand. You need to know what do you represent? What is your number? Know that number. It is so critical. Even I'm going to throw this out here too. Even like if you got children or family, if you got good credit, put your children on one of those credit cards, because that will give them the opportunity to come in with a good credit. That's how you do that. And a lot of people you may know it, you may not. But if you got children and even my own self, I'll use me for example, where my daughter there, she was trying to get something. She said, Mom, put me on the credit, because I know I had good credit. It boosts her up. It helps. So look at it. How can I benefit? Remember, your credit reads you. It's all about who you are, who you represent, and to know that it is so critical in this hour. Right now, you don't even have to have money. Is beginning to fade away. What is your credit? That would never fade away. That's there for life. If some people got 300, work on it. Make sure you work on it. Make sure and always know it's workable. And then some tips. Get your free credit report and your credit score. Make sure you get that. Pull it annual. See what's on you. So many people got the same last name, same, and sometimes they use same address. It doesn't, a lot of time, and even fraudulent I hear, You have to be careful because some people can use your identity. You are covering your identity. And what? That credit plays a major part. So know it, pull it. See, if it ain't there, don't take nothing that don't belong to you. Make a budget and live within it. Don't go over your means just because it looks good. Know it. Finance is critical. People get in debt just because they can get a credit card. Be cautious. So what? You got all these credit cards. But if you don't make the payment and you're late on, it's damaging you. Use it to your advantage. Always have the ones that you got to have. You know you need them other ones. And another thing that they look at too, the history, long history. If you've been with belts for 20 some years and you ain't been late, that says volume. That says a lot. And banks and institutions, they look at that. They look at your history, all about you. Remember, you are red on paper. Your life from the credit. How is my life red? Yes, it is, because it's everything right in their hands. It tells if you're going to make this payment. It tells if you dependable. It tells that, hey, can I loan you some money? I don't care if it's $20. Can I loan you this money? Another thing, don't abuse your credit just because you got it. Don't spend it just because it's there. Use it wisely. And I'll throw this in too. You know, a lot of time because it's there, you spend it because you got it. Well, so what? I live for today. Don't have that mentality. Remember, your credit represent who you are, how you do, what you're doing in this life, because it's a book. You are on paper. You are in people's hands. They ain't even got to see it, but pull your history and know everything about you. Don't spend more than 20% of your available credit. Keep that in hand. Always preserve some things. Always have a backup plan. Even like right now, even when you're trying to clear up your history, clear up your credit, you can do it. I tell everybody, you can do it. Don't never say you can't do it. Start somewhere. Build on top of each other. Build with you little by little. When you put like money in the bank, if you put $10 in there every month, you build it. Start building on your credit because it's your livelihood. It's you. And you want you to be in good places when in hard times and in need. Pay your debt off. Don't be late about paying debt. No, because you never know when you might have to go back and borrow. And one thing about it, when you got a good credit history and good score, try to maintain in that 700. You can get there. It just take a little work, take a little effort, little hard work. Sometimes and little by little, take the smallest and then you build from there. Don't just try to jump out there, hey, because people say, I can help you with your credit. Know what you're doing. Remember, don't place yourself in everybody's hand because you are placing your livelihood within everybody you're trusting to get your credit right. Know who you place in your hand, your livelihood in their hands. Watch your spending. Be cautious. Be careful. But most of all, if I had to say anything about credit, know that it's the interest rate and it goes hand in hand with finance, everything. A lot of time we don't have all that money to pay cash. So your finance, you're paying later. But be smart about what you're paying later. Know what you're paying. Know who you're paying. Don't just jump out there because everybody giving it to you. Everything giving it to you might not be for your good. Let it work for your good. Your credit is your livelihood. Know that if you got good credit, you are working a good system. Work that system. Let it work for you. And I pray that your credit will excel. And I pray that something I said that can help somebody.
Thank you so much, LaShawn. That was some great information. Now, we have a few questions that I want to ask. Just the information that you are, your credit is who you are. And that is so true. So true. Now, one question is, how do you get started with someone that wants to clear up their credit? How do you get started, or where do you get started? Say if you have, $500 debt on your credit report versus $100 and these little $50. Where do you get started? How do you get started on cleaning that credit up?
Okay. How you get started? First of all, you need to pull your report. That's the first thing. Before you do anything, you need to know what's out there, what's on me, and by you knowing that 500, so you know you when you look and you see I got a 500 bill sitting out there on me, and I want to clean this up. Equifax and TransUnion, all them, whatever's on that report, they gonna have that list of that vendor. They gonna have it where you can't go directly to them, but you can contact that vendor that you owe, because they already sent it to the collection. So you got to work with that vendor that you owe. Equifax them is just pulling in that report and putting that on you. But you have to contact that vendor and you have to let them know, hey, let me work this out. Let me pay this off. And that's where it starts. It starts small. If you don't have all $500, start small. Start with $10. Every month, it's coming down from 500. And then if you pay on it, it's coming down. So every time you pay on it, you're boosting up your credit, because it's boosting it up that you're making payments. And when you pay it off, it definitely boosts your credit. It definitely lets you, it don't boost it a whole lot, but everyone that's coming off that credit boosts those scores. And that's what you want. You want to start with the smallest, then work your way up. Don't start from the top and then work down. No, you work from down, then you work up. And that's how you boost your credit. Because a lot of times, same amount of money that you would have paid that small credit, now that you don't pay that off, you can move it to something else. You was already making that payment. So that's what you want to do. You want to look at it and look and see, look at that report. What's up here? What can I knock off? $10, sometimes stay away from the sodas. Put it on your that outstanding bill. Even like right now, even sometime talking to them, and this I must throw this out here too. A lot of time when you hear them say, we'll make a deal if you pay this amount of then we'll forgive it. Yeah, they'll forgive it, but a lot of times it's going to be reported on your taxes, and a lot of people don't know that. But it's forgiven. It's that one time. And so therefore, a lot of time they're going to give you that 1099-C. That's what you want, a cancellation of debt. That's added to your income. And a lot of time, but yeah, you wiped it out from the credit part, but you have to put it over there on your taxes as income. So you need to be cautious on that too, which it can play hand in hand. Good. Did I answer your question? Yes, ma'am. It
did. And you brought a very good point up when you talked about them forgiving that debt, writing it off, but yet they're sending you that they wrote off. They're sending that to you for you to pay taxes on as part of your income. That's good information. That's really good information. Where you think you've done one thing, you've kind of created something else over on the other side. That's kind of cost you money.
And that's what you have to be cautious about, because that's what a lot of people forget when they doing their taxes. And a lot of time from just doing taxes so many years, that's something that's left off people's tax return, because a lot of time they don't send it within the same year. They send it sometime later, off a year later. So therefore, what did that do? IRS said, hey, there was some more income reported on your taxes that you didn't count for. And so that's what you have to be cautious about. Get it in writing. Hey, is this going to be reported on my taxes? Make sure you know that when you come into agreement that they're gonna write this off. Get it in writing. Hey, what are you gonna do? Do I have to pay taxes on it? Make sure you ask them that question. Because a lot of time they say, hey, well, if I pay $200, they said that they are forgiven. They have not forgiven. It's a write-off for them, because, hey, it's an expense to them. So what? You don't pay it. They get it write off as bad debt. So we as the consumer need to know that it's a write-off for them, and make sure that you don't have to be reported on your taxes. And if you do, look at it on the bright side. It's a one time but that debt is gone. So it's got good and bad, pros and cons. Yes.
Amen. Amen. So I have one more question for you. Can you dispute activity on your credit?
Yes, always. Yes. If there is something up there that you feel like, or even like this, I'll use this for example too, disputing. Say like you paid a bill off, right? And it have not hit your credit yet. So you go in there and you dispute it. Even though you paid it, you dispute it, because they gonna come back. They gonna give you a list and say, okay, why you disputing? You gonna tell why? Because I paid this off. So they gonna do their research before they take it off. They gonna do their research. One of those 3 credit institution they're gonna do their research. So if you say and you dispute something, they got to go back and check and to see. If you say this don't belong to me, they gonna go back and they gonna verify. Somewhere, somebody gonna verify that this don't belong to this person. Or they come back and say, hey, Miss Green, this do belongs to you. But they gonna do their research at the same time. Never be afraid to dispute something. Always dispute it, because it can be to your advantage. Somebody else's name might be LaShawn Green, but I don't took on your information, all because we got the last same name. So that's what you want to be cautious. And that's another thing that you got to be cautious about. When people got the same last name, you got to be cautious, because it's so easy to pick up somebody else's report. So be cautious. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. This information and these nuggets and tips have been wonderful. I just want to thank you. Will you let everybody know how they can contact you? Yes. Do you have a website?
I do.
Your business name, in case someone wants to contact you and follow up with you.
Okay. Yes, I'm LaShawn Green with Green's Tax Service. We're located in 33 North Johnston Street in Angier, North Carolina. My telephone number, you can contact me. My office is 919-331-0141, or my cell, 919-247-6997. I also got a website out there. You can go to GTS at Green's Tax Service LLC.com, and you can see who I am. You can read all about me. We've been in business for over 20 some years. And so definitely I specialize in doing income taxes, federal and state taxes, but at the same time, I do credit repair. I even help people start business. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So next, we are going to have Kimerly She's going to talk to us about investments. Kimerly, I'm going to push this off to you.
Okay, great. Good evening. Thank you so much, Tanisha, for having me. I am super excited to be here tonight to talk about investments. Again, my name is Kimerly Barley. I am the CEO and founder of Wealth Matters Enterprises LLC. I actually am a Forex market analyst, and as we go through the presentation, I'll talk to you a little bit more about what I do today. But just to give you a little bit of my backstory, I spent about 26 years in corporate America. As a corporate executive for a pharmaceutical company, and I worked a lot of hours. I worked probably 14, 16 hours a day, sometimes 6 to 7 days a week. And I reached a point that I knew that God had something else intended for me, not just me, but I knew that this was not the life that I wanted to live. And so I wanted to figure out what else could I do. One, to just create generational wealth for my children, and also just to be able to enjoy life, to not have to just work constantly and not be able to enjoy the things that in life. So this is how I kind of moved into where I am now. When I want to talk a little bit about just kind of the cycle of the 4 ways of cash flow. So there are 4 ways that you can make money. Most of us sit on the 95% side, which means we really only make 5% of the entire market. And that includes those that work for someone else, which is what I was. So that's 60% of people work for someone else today in some corporation, some company. The other 35%, they work for themselves. So yes, they're self-employed. They may be barbers, they may be hairstylists, they may own restaurants, and they do work for themselves. But unfortunately, that 95% makes up only 5% of the wealth. So even though it's 95%, they only make 5%. And that was not the side that I wanted to be on. I actually wanted to be on the other side of this chart, which is, a business owner, or more importantly, an investor, which only, as you see, an investor only makes up 1%. And business owners make up 4%. And there was nothing special about those that are investors. I mean, they weren't any smarter than anybody else on the other side. They just had a difference in their mindset. And they made 95% of the wealth. So only 5% of the people in the world which is between the investor and the business owner, they actually control and own 95% of the wealth. And that was the side that I wanted to be on. And so I wanted to find a way. How could I get there? How could I be successful in figuring out how to do this? I read this book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in this book, what Robert Kiyosaki teaches, he talks about how the wealthy teach their kids about money versus the poor and the middle class teaching their kids. It's a very different concept. They teach their kids, how to have leverage, how to have multiple streams of income, how to actually go out and make their money make more money, and how to invest their money. He actually also created this cash flow quadrant, which kind of goes similar to what I've talked about in that first slide. And this is where you've got 4 quadrants. You've got the employee who has a job. Basically they're exchanging their time for money. They have no leverage, and they only equate to about 5% of the wealth. And then you've got your self-employed, who they own a job. So, you might think, okay, I'm self-employed, I work for myself, but you're still exchanging time for money. If you're a physician, if you don't see patients, you don't get paid. If you're a barber or a hairstylist, you still have to have clients to get paid. So you still have no leverage, and you're still part of that 95% population. But if you look to the other side of the quadrant, you've got a business owner, which they own a system. So people work with them to create money. And that's where you want to be. But ideally, you want to be an investor where you own investments. You have leverage. You actually own 95% of the wealth. Your money works for you. Warren Buffett, who is one of the wealthiest individuals in the world, has said this over and over. If you never find a way to make money in your sleep, you will work to the day you die. And so I knew that I had to find a way to make some money in my sleep, because I did not want, I wanted to enjoy life. I wanted to be able to experience some things. I want to talk, as we get into talking a little bit about investments, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the changes that are coming, or some of the changes that have come with new rules of money. So we have what most people are familiar with, which is the traditional financial system. So you, as a person, you send the money to the bank. Then from the bank you're going to take it through, Visa, Venmo, PayPal, because you're going to pay somebody. It's going to go to the bank or the receiver, and then that person is going to be able to receive it through that bank. Well, what we have seen, or what has come about, is what we call decentralized financial system. And the difference between the two is our traditional financial systems are brick and mortar. So they actually are brick and mortar. You go into a bank. The decentralized financial system, there is no brick and mortar. Nothing, no building exists. It does not have to go through a bank. So you as a sender can send it through a system. And especially when we talk about cryptocurrency, we talk about blockchain, which is how the money moves through. So you basically send it through a system that then it goes directly to the receiver. So in this particular case, it really makes the banks become meaningful, not unmeaningful, I'm sorry, makes them become unmeaningful. We don't need a bank. So you don't have to go into a bank to make any transactions. Using a decentralized financial system, you can make those transactions without a bank. And that makes the banks become, useless as time goes on. I want to switch a little bit to talk to you about the new rules to money. So where we're going, this is what I consider the wealth transfer. This is where I consider us having the opportunity to teach our generations behind us how to make their money work for them. And so there are two things that have come about. One is called the Forex market, which actually stands for Forex exchange. And it is just simply where you are buying or selling one country's currency versus another country's currency. And then there's cryptocurrency, which crypto is newer. It has not been around as long as Forex. Forex has been around for 2,000 years. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Forex market and the type of money it generates in that versus like our Wall Street, which most people think about. But cryptocurrency has not been around as long. But cryptocurrency is actually, a lot of people are doing things with cryptocurrency that they didn't do before. Now, let me just back up. With the Forex market, it actually generates $5.3 trillion per day in the market. I said 5.3 trillion. So 12 zeros, if you can imagine that. Whereas before I got involved with this, I didn't even know this existed. So all I knew about was Wall Street and, stock market. And that's probably what most people knew about. But this and the stock market does not generate 5.3 trillion a day. This market has never crashed, which we know that, we've had the stock market crash before, but it has never crashed, and it contains all different country currencies that we trade. And so there are a lot of banks. So what people don't realize is there are a lot of banks that actually, a lot of the major banks, and these are the top 10, that have a Forex department, and they trade your money. And so maybe you didn't realize that you were a trader, but you are by default a trader, because they take the money that we have in our accounts and they actually trade it. One example is if you've ever gone into a bank or gone to the teller machine and deposited a check, and the teller told you, we'll have to hold a check for 3 days. Well, the reason they hold that check for 3 days is because they're using your money to trade. So you are a trader. The only difference is you're not benefiting from the trading. Yes, you're going to get the money that you deposited, but you're not going to get what they make off of it. So these are the top 10 banks that actually trade. Typically at night, if you've tried to go in and say, look at your account online, and you've seen a message come up saying, the system is down for maintenance, that's not always the case. They have actually taken your money and they trade it at night. and then they put your money back into your account by 5 a.m. the next morning. The only difference is they're not putting anything extra in there. They're only putting back what they took from you. But the banks do trade Forex, and that is a lot of how they are able to maintain their business as a bank. So I want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. I know a lot of people have heard about Bitcoin, which Bitcoin is the number one cryptocurrency coin, but there are a lot of coins out there. And with Bitcoin, there are a lot of things that people are doing with Bitcoin that you've never seen before. And so this also goes to just the wealth transfer that we're seeing happening. And for the first time, this gives us an opportunity for the average person, the everyday person, to be able to do this, which we couldn't do years ago. It just took a lot of money. It took about tens and thousands of dollars to be able to even get into the trading platform and cryptocurrency. But for the first time, it gives an everyday person an opportunity to actually change the trajectory of their life, their families, and their friends. And just I want to give you little examples of how how Bitcoin is being used. Here's an example of an ultra-exclusive Surfside penthouse in Miami. It sold for $22 million, and this deal was done all in crypto. And so this deal was done solely with crypto. Here are some companies, and so what do these companies have in common? What they have in common is Bitcoin. So people are paying their Visa with Bitcoin. You can actually buy Bitcoin through PayPal. Cash App, you can actually buy Bitcoin. You can invest in Bitcoin through there. You can even go to Starbucks and buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin. And JP Morgan and Chase have Bitcoin on their platform, and you're going to start to see more. These are just a few companies, but you're going to start to see more and more companies take Bitcoin. People are, like I said, buying houses, buying vehicles with it. Here's an example that a recent article that just came out this week, where Walmart is getting ready to install 200 Bitcoin ATMs in their stores as retail giant launches a new crypto pilot program. People, when they go shop at Walmart, they'll be able to buy Bitcoin. And so you're going to see they're in grocery stores. You're going to see them more and more. So I want to get in a little more into trading and what we do. So when we're trading, we trade currency pairs, which what I was saying earlier, those are pairs where you're just trading one country's currency versus another country's currency. We trade cryptocurrency, which again is, Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Litecoin, Dogecoin, which I know a lot of people have heard about that. Those are just a few of them. There are so many more on that platform. We also trade commodities, energies, metals. So we trade oil, we trade silver, we trade gold. And so it just gives you, and we actually can trade stocks on this platform as well. And so how do you trade and invest? So there is an educational platform that we use, which you are taught how to trade. You're taught how to go into the market and how to actually get into trades and get out of the trades. We also, with our educational platform, we teach you how to compound your money very quickly, much faster than the bank. And so for an example, we've seen some individuals who started trading with as little as $100 in their trading account. And then within 90 days or 90 trades, they had grown that account to $20,000, because we teach you how to compound it. We teach you the way to do this, which is you can't be the bank. I have never seen you deposit $100 into a traditional bank, and get that amount back. Not even over multiple years, much less 90 days. And then we also teach you how to invest and trade cryptocurrency. So not only do you trade cryptocurrency, but you can also own cryptocurrency. So we teach you how to buy and to hold on to it and to allow it to grow, which is going to grow much faster than anything would in a traditional savings account in a traditional bank. So just kind of to summarize and wrap it up, what I ask you to think about is what sources are you plugged into? So when you think about investments and you think about, knowledge and access to it, what assets do you have? I thank Tanisha for this platform, and I appreciate her giving me the opportunity to actually share this information, because I think it's so important that we transfer the knowledge. Again, like I said, I didn't know about this at all. I was looking for something. I had never heard of Forex, and I was so glad that the person that thought enough of me to call me to say, hey, I found something, why don't you take a look at it? And because of that, it truly changed the trajectory for my family. And also, it's our job to step up for the next generation. It's our job to share this information, to share how we can move forward and not have to work so hard. With the pandemic that we all have gone through, there were a lot of people that, were either working from home, or maybe they were furloughed, or laid off. And they just didn't have any other options. But for those of us that were in this industry, it didn't change anything. We could continue to trade, because you can trade from anywhere as long as you have a device, a laptop or a desktop, or you can even trade directly from your phone. So that means you can be anywhere in the world. You can travel wherever wherever you are. You can, as long as you have a device, you're able to actually trade. Yeah. So this is my contact information. Again, I said I'm a CEO and founder of Wealth Matters Enterprises LLC. You can reach me for more if you want more information and need to talk to you more in detail about what we do. You can reach me at wealthmattersenterprises@gmail.com, or you can reach me at kbarley1945@gmail.com. Also, my cell number is 919-270-1956. And you can also find me on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at Kimerly Barley. I thank you, Tanisha, so much for this opportunity. I definitely appreciate this platform that you have out here that's given us an opportunity. And so thank you for having me.
You are welcome, Kimerly. You gave some great pointers. I find it interesting because it's happened to me, and I've seen it where you said, the system is down. You go in and check my account late at night and the system's down. Now I know that they moving, they touching my money.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I've seen that several times.
Yes. Yes.
And also I didn't realize that the bank holding your check for 3 days. I always thought of that as, they're holding your check because they want to reach out to the bank that the check is written off of and to make sure that check is good. But now that you say that, it makes total sense, because why would you be concerned about another bank not having the funds?
Right. Plus, they can check that immediately. They are able to verify that immediately.
Exactly.
Yes.
So those were some really, really good pointers. So again, tell us a little bit about what your company does. What is it that you offer? And if someone was interested in, doing investments or doing trading, is your company, is it just based off of, I'm going to teach you how to invest and how to trade?
So I'm actually an individual consultant for under educational platform, and so what I do is those that are interested in learning how to trade, we teach them how to trade. We're on we actually have a platform. We're on 7 days a week, multiple times, and we actually there is a membership for this, but as part of that membership, you get an educational platform that includes videos, includes other educators online, but we actually teach live online every night. And we work with each individual at whatever level they're at, and we just show them the things, strategies that we have learned to make us successful.
Okay. And do you find that you have to have a lot of money to start this investment or this trading?
No, you do not have to have a lot of money. A lot of people start their trading accounts at $100. As I was
Okay.
saying before, yeah, you can start as little as 100, you can start as little as $50. You do not have to have a large amount, and that's the difference in, the transfer of wealth that's happened, because for a long time you had to have a lot of money to get into this space. But now the average everyday person that's interested in changing their life, they can do it. It gives each person an opportunity to do it. So, in addition to your trading account, there is a fee for the a monthly fee for the educational platform. But we also have opportunity calls. So if there's someone that's interested in just seeing what we do, without necessarily joining, we do have opportunity calls where they can just come on, and we talk about what we do and how we do it and the cost of everything, and that's free for them to come on and listen to that.
Okay. And that is the same website that you gave out earlier.
It will actually, it's not the same website, but if they send the information or they send the request to that email address, I will provide them the Zoom information and the days that we actually do those opportunity sessions.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Well, thank you again for giving us your time and giving us this information and these nuggets and tips. I think this is an eye opener for some people, because a lot of us are not used to this environment, this
Exactly.
investment, this trading. It's nothing that we've had a lot of introduction to.
Exactly right.
So I thank you again for taking the time to do this presentation for us. And we look forward to hearing from you later in some of our other events where we get a little deeper, a little more in detail on investing and trading. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So this ends our session for tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us. We will have Lanisha Bryant to give us our closing. And again, if you did not see part 1 of the Her Business, I encourage you to go to www.IamHerEssence.com and see part 1. Thank you and good night.